Alrighty then. It's another episode of the Gaming Memories podcast where I, the one true gaming prophet, he who hath been called by the gaming gods themselves, even Miyamoto, the Father, Kojima the Son, and Carmack, the Holy Ghost, who appeared to me in prophetic vision, commanding me to bring back the one true gaming podcast, and all I had to do was simply interview creative and interesting people about their favorite gaming memories growing up. And today, I'm gonna follow the Lord's command. Yep. Today we are interviewing Cecily, goes by the Dark Nymph, is a streamer, content creator, and cosplayer. Recommendation by Ashton Ruby, who has edited many of the episodes of this podcast, also edits for the great and wonderful podcast Retro Hangover. Recommended me to her. We talked a little bit about that in the beginning, and we had a great conversation. We talked about all the games she enjoyed growing up. I asked questions because I'm an old man. I ask her a bunch of stuff about sort of the younger generation, how they view gaming, what are popular opinions. She plays a lot of games that I don't play, mainly online multiplayer games. I don't stream, she streams, etc. So she sort of schools me in the way of the new generation because I'm out of touch. I got gray hair, my skin is getting saggy, all that stuff. Father time is undefeated. And it's my generation's coming up next. I'm pushing the big 4-0. Oh my God, I'm in my basement making a podcast at almost 40. What a loser. As far as what's been going on, I've been putting more effort into the YouTube channel. Please go check it out. I got some new content, not just all the episodes in the backlog updated. The recent episodes prior to this was the top games of 2022. It took a long time editing that. But also I've been creating content outside of the podcast on YouTube, uploading videos of PC games, retro games, using all the bells and whistles to get you the most modern resolutions and frame rates, jumping through the hoops of the mods and the emulations so you don't have to. If you want to just see what a game looks like today in 2023 with all the bells and whistles, say you want to watch Cyber, the old arcade tank shooter that was ported to the PS1 as a launch game, long box, and you want to see it running in 4K, 60 FPS using DuckStation emulator with PGXP, Precision Geometry Transform Pipeline. I have no idea what that means. I just memorized the mouth noise, but it basically fixes all the wobbles and the texture warping in PS1 games. Just all the cool shit you can do. Go onto the YouTube channel, check it out. I got Final Fantasy 7, 8, and 9 with all the best mods, 60 FPS, HD textures, yada, yada, yada. Working my way through Final Fantasy 10 right now, which is a surprisingly good game. I still hate the art direction. I still think Titus is basically Meg Ryan in overalls, and I can't connect, but the world, the lore is pretty dope, and the graphics are surprisingly good. I'm using a couple shaders, reshade plugin, HD textures, 8K textures actually done, not AI upscaling by hand by a modder on Nexus Mod. I wish I could remember the name of him, give him credit, but it's like Cathartic or something like that. But he went through all the main characters and did by hand texture updates, and they look amazing. And then you can also combine that with HD upscales of all the NPCs and enemies, and it looks amazing. I'll be uploading all the bosses and cinematic shots of that on the YouTube channel. So really, I'm just playing around with what you can do with retro games, and especially 3D ones, PS1, PS2 era with this AI stuff. You can upscale textures. It's fun as shit. That's what's coming down the pipeline on the YouTube channel. Otherwise, give it up for the Dark Nymph. Check her out. I'll have all the applicable links in the podcast description. As always, remember to share the good news of the gaming gospel. Ye shall be blessed. I say these things in the name of Miyamoto the Father, Kojima the Son, and Carmack the Holy Ghost. Amen, and enjoy the show. I came across your profile because Ashton Ruby, who has edited a lot of this podcast, he edits a lot of Retro Hangover. He's been a guest on some other podcasts with me before, and I was complaining to him that I had a hard time getting female guests. I want to make sure I have equal representation. I've only had 2 or 3 female guests, and he met you at your college, right?
Yes, my college.
And he met you doing like an interview. You were practicing the interview, found out you were into games, said you were super chill during the interview process, and that you were a legit gamer, and that I should have you on the podcast. So I trust Ashton's opinion. He's a legit gamer. But I went on to your profile, and the very first post that I saw was you from the side pulling your cheek back, and you have an oddly long tongue, or you can make it look long, and you were doing the Attack on Titan, the famous, I don't know what you call it, like silhouette or still.
Yeah,
on the show?
something like that. Yeah,
And
something like that.
I'm like, okay, she must be chill. She's doing Attack on Titan tongue. I messaged you. This was like a year ago, and now we're finally having a chat. You seem super busy. You got school. You got streaming.
Oh, yeah.
You do cosplays from what I see too.
Yes, I'm getting into it.
So give people, me and all the listeners who are probably unaware, where can we find you? What do you do? What type of content do you specialize in?
Well, my name is Cecily, or I go by the Dark Nymph online. I stream on Twitch. I also have an Instagram and a Twitter and a TikTok and a YouTube, actually. Started doing that. It was busy during the summer with that, but now school started. It's not so busy. But I tend to do variety streams. The other day, I did a subathon, which I streamed for like 13 and a half hours, I think.
Whoa. How was that?
Oh, it was entertaining, but so many, because I usually tend to stream since school and everything. I tend to stream around like 4 hours or so, or 6, depends on the game. But yeah, I tend to play more story mode based games and games I can play by myself, minus like Overwatch. That's like the only shooter game that I play with like other people. But yeah, I tend to be, I say I'm a variety streamer, keeping it chill.
You mainly don't play FPSs? You just happen to love Overwatch? Or do you play a lot of other FPSs?
I don't tend to play other FPSs. I guess if like my roommate will ask if I want to play Fortnite or Call of Duty, I'll be like, fine. But I'm not good. But for some reason, like Overwatch, I'd say I'm pretty confident in that game.
What about Overwatch sticks for you?
I think it's because like there's so many different characters and there's so many different like types of what they do, their ults and everything. So it's like I could find certain people that I work super well with in like tank or DPS or healer. So it's super nice. And then other people, it's like hard. And my roommate, it's a struggle for her because it's like she's so used to COD and she's like, everyone in this game is like so different and it's everyone, like no one's the same. And I was like, yeah, I'd like to say I'm pretty good at all the characters, and getting used to it took me a long time now. So,
who's your favorite character?
It like depends. I have like one from each of the main things. Like my favorite tank is, her name's Diva. I actually have a cosplay of her. And then DPS, it'd probably be like Ashe. And then healer is Mercy. I have the most hours on Mercy, but it's because no one wants to heal ever. So I'm like, I'll just do it.
How do you feel about Overwatch 2? Are you happy with it so far?
I actually love it. So I've been playing Overwatch since 2016 when it came out. And when they kept announcing that they're making Overwatch 2 and it took them like 3 or 4 years to finally make Overwatch 2, I was so excited. And everyone was like, it's going to be the same game. It's the same game. It's the same game. And I'm always like, okay, but what about your COD? COD's the same all throughout. And I was like, NBA, NHL, like they're always the same. And I was like, they're putting new characters in, they're changing up half the tanks, they're putting new maps in. And I was like, there's so many different things that they're doing and attack modes. Like, it's going to be the same game just because it has the same characters, but everything else is like changing a lot.
You could also argue if the formula works so well for you, you don't want them to drastically change the formula.
Exactly. Yeah. I think it's still fun. And I keep seeing tweets where people are like, Overwatch is fun. Like, get over it. Get off your high horse. It's a really fun game. And I'm like, yes, it is still a fun game.
I've only played it like casually a couple of times with some friends, but I try to, and I'm always consuming gaming media and news. The general consensus that I've been exposed to is that most people have pretty good. I've heard more good about it than bad.
I think it only had really bad things because the launch was awful. It was
Wasn't
bad.
the server time like super shitty or you couldn't get on?
It was, yeah. So they also got like hacked, and they got hacked when they tried to do it. So no one could get in the game. And there were so many people. The queues were like, the first day that it came out, I got in. I didn't even get in. I was queued for like 4 hours, and then I streamed, and then I tried to get back in afterwards, and I was still queuing. And then once you got in, you got kicked out. And Overwatch 1 decided like, oh, you can connect your account so then you can have all your old skins and all your old emotes and everything. And then half the people didn't have any of their stuff when they connected their account for the second one. But I think it fixed everything by now, at least.
How long did that last for before you started getting like a good experience?
It probably took a week or two. Like, it was a long time.
That would piss me off if I was so amped, like waiting for day one, then a whole week of shit. I would be pretty pissed. Yeah.
I know. I was so angry, but they said they're giving us a free skin, so I guess that's pretty nice.
For your streams when you're not playing Overwatch, give us like, what's the most recent game you played on stream besides Overwatch?
So I tend to play a lot like Fallout. I love Fallout 4. Been a big fan of Fallout ever since I was little. I also have played a lot of Cult of the Lamb. That's a newer game. And you're like a cult leader for little animals. It's kind of weird and insane. And Dead by Daylight is another one that I'm like obsessed with. Love that game.
Isn't Dead by Daylight an FPS?
Well, there's no like guns or anything, but like
It's from a first-person view, right?
Yeah, like you go against a whole bunch of different people.
But Dead by Daylight is I'm trying to remember, is that multiplayer only?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's a multiplayer only game. And then Fallout 4, though, is a single player game, also from first person. So just get a sense of like what you're into. If you don't mind, when were you born? What year?
2000.
Oh my God, you're so young. Jesus Christ. I knew you to be younger, but holy shit. We're gonna gotta find some common ground. Born in 2000.
Yeah.
So you're
so
22.
Sorry. Yes, I'm 22.
Okay. I try to usually guess what your first console would be. 2000. I'm not like, it had to be a PS2. Sold everywhere. You were born in 2000. Was your first console a PS2?
Technically, I'd say yes, but at the same time, when we were really little, my like older cousins gave us their Nintendo 64.
Oh.
So we played that a lot, but PS2, like I could really remember PS2 games.
If you go back as far as you can, it doesn't matter whether it was you, a cousin's, what is the first video game you can remember ever seeing?
I feel like it was a Zelda game. I remember, or no, it was a Pokemon game. It was like a battle arena on the Nintendo 64. I just remember Lick Tongue. Just he like was licking things, or like no, he was eating sushi off a conveyor belt.
Stadium. It had to have been Pokemon Stadium. Yeah.
I think that was it.
The first thing you saw was Pokemon Stadium.
Yeah, that's the one I can remember like that far back.
And what else do you remember from the 64?
I remember my brother. He wouldn't let me play, but there was a Zelda game. He would play it all the time, and I remember watching him, and every time I'd be like, can I please play? He'd be like, no, you'll mess up everything, and you'll lose all my stuff, and you'll die. And I remember a Zelda one, and then there was a whole bunch of, like, Pokemon ones. Okay. I never really got to play, but I got to play the arcade one, so...
How much older is your brother?
He's only a year older than me.
Oh, so damn, you guys are back-to-back. That's like my kids. Makes sense. So he would have, he was still really young, too, playing those games. Okay. What do you consider the first game that like you got into? The game that you're streaming at 22, which means you probably have been into games since you were a kid, I'm imagining. It wasn't like, so what was the first game where you were like, I'm a gamer?
Okay, so I would definitely say, so at my dad's, he had a PC, so he had Steam games, so we always played that. But a game that he was like, you know what, you can try it out, see if you like it, was Left 4 Dead. It's a Left 4 Dead game.
That makes a lot of sense about what you're gaming now. I can see how, yeah. It's multiplayer team game. And you love Overwatch, multiplayer team game. How old were you when you started playing Left 4 Dead?
Oh gosh, I couldn't even remember. When did it? I think it came out, in like 2000?
2008. So you only would have been 8? Jeez.
Yeah, I was like 8 or 9.
You're blasting zombies at 8.
Yeah, and I remember specifically playing one of the modes. It was called like Versus, and you could play like either one of the special zombies, or you could be on the other team, like the humans. And I remember playing, and I finally was like, I'm gonna talk on the mic. And I remember like talking on the mic, and a whole bunch of boys were like, oh my god, is that a girl? Oh my god, it's a girl, it's a girl. And I literally got so scared, and I left the game, and I like didn't play for a couple days because I was so scared. Dude,
that's crazy. I have a 7-year-old daughter that's like you a year older.
Yeah.
Just I could just like the thought of her like blasting zombies, talking to people on the internet.
Yeah, I was terrified.
How hard was it for you to learn how to play? Because you can't just like hop on with. Did you have other keyboard and mouse experience before you started playing it, or were you playing with a remote?
Well, no, we actually played. I remember playing on the keyboard because my dad's left-handed, and I always had to move the mouse and the keyboard over because I was right-handed. But I would play Fallout because I would always watch him play Fallout, or Skyrim, or Sims. I think I probably learned a lot from Sims.
So you had some mouse learning. Yeah. It's a competitive online game, and it'd be like my kids can't play. They can't even play Mario. Like they suck at everything. They're just not that. But so you must have been playing enough games even earlier at the 64 to pick up and play Left 4 Dead. Do you remember being confused, or do you remember just knowing what to do?
Just from like watching my dad, I remember watching him like click the keys and like do all the keyboard stuff. So I feel like it was just kind of like picking up on what he would do. And then I would play, and then try to follow the motions. So because I can't remember just being like, it sounds weird, but I can't remember like really struggling I just remember like just getting into it and being like playing it all the time.
Your dad would just walk in and be like, "How's the zombie blasting going?"
He would always like, "Wow, that's my girl. Look at her go. Look at her go."
It is interesting. Yeah, most girls would like even if they want to play video games, Left 4 Dead would not be.
Yeah, no.
If I were to take a bet,
Yeah.
that's not what I would guess.
Yeah, no, my sister was always into The Sims and Animal
makes
Crossing, which I
Yeah.
played I play Animal Crossing and Sims all the time, but yeah, she was more into that. And I picked up Left 4 Dead. I was like, this is awesome.
This is my shit. Where does the name Dark Nymph come from?
So I really like Greek mythology and all that stuff, and I have like a weird obsession with like fairies and like just like mythical creatures. I think they're so pretty. So I was like, oh, I don't think the dark fairy sounds good. Or someone was taking. I was like, it doesn't sound good. And then I was like looking up and I was like, oh my god, the nymph, that works so perfectly. It flows well. I always get questions all the time if I'm a nymphomaniac, and I'm like, no, look up what nymph means. It's not what you think it is. It's literally just like a fairy or like a water spirit or one of those. And I was always like, yeah, that seems odd. They're just troublemakers. And I think that's funny to me because I feel like I'm chaotic.
I can't remember. I know nymphomaniac is some like sexual fetish, right? But
Yes, it is.
I don't
think it just
remember
means
what
you
it
like
is.
you like having sex all the time. Like
Oh.
that's like
I thought for a sec. What's the one when it's with dead people?
necrophilia.
I knew it was an N, so I was like,
Yeah.
well, at least
So,
people
yeah.
aren't assuming you're a necrophiliac. I guess it could be
Yeah,
worse.
no, that you know what? Yeah, that's true. That's so true. Thank God.
Why do you like fairies in Greek mythology?
I don't know why like fairies kind of just stick out to me because I feel like I kind of grew up on like a farm and like a dirty and like trucks and tractors and all that kind of stuff. But I still had that very like petite like fairy kind of like girly girl kind of thing going on. And I just think they're cute and I love their wings, and I watched a lot of Disney, so like that probably had something to do with it. And just like Greek mythology, I don't know why. That whole aspect just seems so cool to me. Like all of them and like how they made everything and everything. I don't know. Me and my brother have always been really big into like the Greek mythology and all that kind of stuff. I don't know. And I was like, this works well because I like Greek mythology and, fairies. That's something I like too.
Have you ever seen anything weird, like a ghost, light in the sky, a fairy, had any sort of like abnormal, like no way to explain experience?
Okay. Sometimes I really feel like we live in an AI, if that's like kind of on the same thing.
You're speaking my language. I'm more and more, I'm like, shit, dude, that might be what's going on.
And sometimes, so like, I've never really seen a ghost. I've been like, always wanted to. I've always wanted to be that kind of like, see that spiritual kind of thing because I believe in it. Like, I think that's cool. So, but like with the whole AI thing, there was like, sometimes we'll be like driving. And I remember one time me and my one old roommate were driving down the road, and there was just like, we were like looking at the clouds, and I was like, wow, these clouds literally look so perfect. Like they feel off. And then literally like I was talking to her for like a second, and then we looked back, and like all the clouds are gone. And I was like, this does not literally make any sense.
Was it stormy?
No, it was a clear skies. It was so pretty out. And then I've seen like that was like the same thing. One time we like saw a plane and it was just in the sky and it was clear skies, nothing, no trees or anything. And we like looked down for a second, then looked back up and it was like completely gone. And it's just like things like that I'm like, yo. And sometimes how people react to things, or like you see people, you're like driving on the highway and you just see people literally just like completely like not so emotionalist driving. I'm like, yo, I think we live in a simulation. Those are NPCs for sure.
So what's interesting is this idea of an NPC. I never heard growing up. I've never, like, obviously NPCs were around. It was a terminology in gaming for a long time. It does seem to be like a younger generation thing where people say, like, I observe humans out there that seem like NPCs. And I'm wondering, because that never seemed like a thing when I was a kid, but we didn't have smartphones. Sometimes I wonder if smartphones are like turning us into NPCs. Like maybe the number of NPCs is growing. The younger generation talks about it all the time, but I never remember even ever seeing anyone that seemed like that. No one I know, no one it's like a new thing that I've noticed on TikTok specifically.
I don't know. I feel like it definitely has something to do with it. I mean, we did grow up with like newer like tech, and like we're the generation that is all tech, all video games, all social media. Like we never get away from it.
From day one, you had it.
day one, we've always had to deal with it. So it's like, I wouldn't be surprised if it has stuff to do with like, because I feel like when we say NPC, I feel like sometimes when you look at someone and they're just so cold, still face, you don't really know what's going on, obviously, in their lives.
Yeah.
And I know when I'm like blank and I'm staring up into space, I'm like in deep in thought or I'm like depressed. So I'm like, those people are probably going through a whole bunch of shit, but it's just like, I think my generation just kind of is like, likes to make fun or make jokes about everything. So they probably just think that's funny.
Would you say the term is more used in a way of you don't actually think the person is like different than you? Like you don't actually think they're an NPC, but it's more like they're acting like an NPC and you're teasing them.
Yes, I think that's more like what it is.
This is why I'm so old. I was like, do all these kids literally think that like other kids are not the same? Like they're like computer? I don't know.
Yeah. No, I mean,
it's almost like a, God damn, I am old. I'm just like so baked. Like, holy shit, I'm asking a kid about a new slang. It's happened. Father Time is undefeated. It'll happen to you too. I'm telling you.
And I'm not excited.
You think it won't, but it will.
I'm going to write down in paper to put me out of my misery because I don't want to grow too old.
Do you also, though, when you say you resonate with the idea of simulation theory, do you think it's possible there are people out there that are NPCs? Like they don't have a soul and they're just part of the simulation?
Yeah, honestly. Because sometimes it's just like the things that just happen in my life or things that are going around. It's just honestly, because I really believe in like higher beings and like aliens and like extraterrestrial things. So, like, I wouldn't be surprised if they're on the planet or they've made people that look like us and they just walk around. I just think it's crazy when people are like, I don't believe in aliens. And I'm like, the galaxy is so massive. You don't think there's things just out there? No way. So I'm like, I wouldn't be surprised if there's like NPCs or like other extraterrestrial walking around on it, like here. So I do think there's more out there.
I'm a huge fan of the alien subject, UFO subject. I spent a lot of time listening to podcasts in that realm. I can usually get most people to agree, hey, the universe is really big. The galaxy is really big. It's been around a long time. Chances are there's something out there, right? And people will agree with that. The problem where they have a hard time is, but it's not here. And I try to like, okay, but you can totally accept the idea that there's probably aliens out there because it's so big, right? It's so big, though, there's probably an alien out there that has figured out how to travel really far, really fast.
Yes.
And has probably figured out how to hide itself from dumb apes like us. So why couldn't that not be right now?
I 100%. I feel that so bad. Because I'm sometimes like, I just think like, I feel like it's so crazy that like people see this, like people might have saw aliens or anything and drew up pictures or something. And I get people are very creative, but sometimes I'm like, it stems from somewhere. So like ancient Egypt, like when they would paint or like do their hieroglyphics and stuff like that, and there was like depictions of like aliens or extraterrestrial, and it's like that was
kinda
from
weird.
somewhere. That's like they drew that off of something. So that's why I'm always like, even when we come into like the topic of like dragons or Bigfoot or anything like that, I'm like, I feel like the world's so massive and the universe is so big that it stems from somewhere. Like those things have to be real. Like
I also feel like we've always, every time you go, like, say, a jump of 100 years, and we look back now of like what we were doing 100 years ago, say for medical science or for cars or whatever, and we look back 100 years and we always think, oh, the humans 100 years ago were so dumb. They didn't know anything. Look how much smarter we are. We know everything. But we don't think that the humans in 100 years are going to look back and be like, oh, those guys were so dumb. They had this and this and that wrong. We always kind of just think that we got it sorted out. And dude, in 100 years, it might be obvious aliens are everywhere because we developed some new technology that can detect things a certain different, like you have no idea. That totally could. Maybe it's everywhere and you just don't have the tools to detect them. But we're going to invent some crazy telescope or some crazy something. And all of a sudden be like, holy shit. Just like we used to think there wasn't that many stars, right? You get the Hubble and now the James Webb. They point it at an area in the universe that's pure black. And then, there's another 2 million galaxies there. Shit. It could be everywhere. We didn't know until we had a telescope.
Literally. And that's why I'm like, I don't understand why people are always like, oh, no, there's no way those things exist. Like, there's no way. I'm like, there's no way that you're this dumb. Like, no way. No
It's one thing
way.
to say no way, and another thing to be like, I've never seen anything that convinces me, but I'm open to the idea. It's the people like, there's no way, there's absolutely not. And then if you show them something or any sort of argument, it's like they've already decided they're against it because I don't know. I stopped talking to people about aliens because I'm like, if they're into it, they'll ask me. If not, all it's gonna do is cause an argument.
So my one friend, he's like, I don't know what spiritual realm he's on because he sees ghosts and he has proof of it all the time.
That's what I was
He
gonna
literally
ask
has
if you
proof.
know if you know anybody in your close circle, like people you personally know,
Yeah.
not just a story you heard at
No.
school, but like someone you know that's had an experience and you believe them.
Yes. Like my one friend, it's just so crazy. Ghosts just like literally are always around him. And I'm like, oh, I wish that was me. Are you kidding me? But like he used to work at this one like old rundown like town building that was just kind of up because of historical things. And it used to be like in the old times, it used to be like some sort of hospital. And he was like had to patrol it to see if like people were there or anything. And he like went to the up this like second floor area, started walking down, and then right in like an old doctor's room, it was like a glass pane. And it literally, there was just a figure. Like, it was a perfectly, like, you could see the face, you could see the jacket. It was literally a guy that used to, like, that was his office in a full doctor outfit. And it literally has a picture of it. And he literally has a
He
video
took
of
a
him.
picture of it with his phone?
Yeah. Yeah. And he literally could see the guy. And he said he, like, took a video and was walking towards it, opened the door, and there's literally nothing there. And this guy is not high tech enough to do that.
So
Because
he's not like faking footage on his
no, like
computer
he's
or anything?
like he's someone that loves hiking, like activities, like fishing, like he's nowhere close
Do you
to
guys
technology.
use the term granola still, or is that out?
I think that's out. I don't
You think you've never heard that term, granola?
know. No.
Really? Oh my
No.
God. Granola is like hippie, like an outdoor guy that loves camping and
yeah.
shit.
He's very hippie, very granola, as you say, very granola. That's why, like, he'll sometimes like ask questions about like phones or like games, and I'm like, oh my god, like it's so easy. It's just you do this, and he's so confused. So that's why I was like, I believe him.
And you've seen this picture yourself?
Yeah, it literally blew my mind. I was like, that's literally, and then he like found the picture.
Physically, there was a person there, or did the appearance look like weird, not natural?
Yeah, it looked non-natural because it was like kind of glowy, kind of like a glowy aspect to it because it was like
Really?
more like white and like kind of had a glow to it. It was so crazy. My mind was so blown because it was like right when they like went to go check it out, there was like absolutely nothing there. And like there was another time where he like had to go babysit someone's dogs, and he took a video because he had to take videos of the dogs to send to the person so they know the dogs are alive. And he like walked in and was like talking to the dogs, and literally like in the background you just see a dark figure walk from one of the doors to the other, like in the hallway. It was like into a door, into the next door, just quick. And then he was like, I didn't even notice it until I watched the video. And then he like called the cops and like, cause he thought someone was there, and they didn't find anything. It was so, I was like, that's so crazy.
I do
That's
think,
insane.
back to the alien stars thing, I think there could be shit all around us all the time. Just like there's Wi-Fi around you all the time. You can't see
Yeah.
the Wi-Fi. The only reason we know Wi-Fi exists is because we have machines that can detect it. But we
Yeah.
can never detect it. Radios, whatever. There might be shit everywhere, and there might be people who just for whatever reason, some sort of genetic disposition or gift, they get like a little extra sight and they can see shit that's there. Like maybe ghosts, maybe they don't follow him. They're just everywhere. and
Yes, and
because
he
of
just
him,
sees them.
they can break through every once in a while.
See, that's crazy to think about. That's awesome.
Yeah, I have a the reason I've been really interested in this subject because I used to be completely skeptical about almost all this shit. Until I saw a UFO, and then I was like, okay,
So awesome.
that's weird. And then I sort of put it away for a while and didn't want to accept it. And then eventually I was like, man, I have to, like, I saw some weird shit. I don't know what it was, but I've never seen like a ghost or had any sort of paranormal experience. But I have a sister-in-law. I have some people really close to me, like your friend. It happens to them all the time. And I know they're not lying because I know them personally, right?
Yeah.
I know they're not lying. And then I think, how many people out there, right? Everyone knows someone with crazy ghost stories or they've seen some shit. So if everybody knows at least a few things, there's 350 million people in America. That means there's at least right now 350, maybe double,
Yeah.
700, 800, 900 million stories out there. And do you think everybody's lying?
Yeah.
Out of all of those, are they all lying? Are they all crazy? Okay, half of them are lying. Half of those are crazy. You're still on a 25%. That's still millions and millions of experiences that there's something to it. And to say that you don't think there's anything more. I don't know. It's cool to hear someone young be like, I'm open to some shit because
Yeah. I just think it's fun to think that way. Like, I think it's so fun to think like that there's different planes of like beings or different galaxies or thoughts. I just think it's fun to live that way instead of living like, no. It's just plain
It's
Jane. This is
interesting.
how life is. So
You
I'm always
just-
like very open to it.
you intuitively feel like it just makes life better to believe.
Yeah. I just think
Yeah.
it's entertaining. It makes like life fun. And then I guess I do kind of have like a ghost story. I kind of was nervous because when you asked it, I was like, oh my God, I can't think right now. But I used to go, so I stayed at my first dormitory. It was one of the ones that you share a bathroom and you have like roommates that are right beside you and all that stuff. It was my freshman year, and the dormitory that I stayed at, North Hall, it burnt down a really, really, really long time ago. And then it also had a lady in it named Emma, who was like the house lady that took care of the girls on the floor, and she died in her sleep there. And it's just creepy because they have like her door, they never fixed her door, and they have like a weird
Wait, let me
mural
interrupt
on
you.
it.
Did you know all of this before you lived there?
No, I did not know.
Did you know all of this before you had the experience you're about to tell?
No, I was like
Didn't?
confused.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I like was so confused what was going on. And so she had like this weird mural, and it's there. It's like a Mickey Mouse. It's on her door. They never took it down. They redone the whole place. Well, they redone the second place where her room was my sophomore year, not my freshman year. But then in the basement, it's so creepy. There's like a giant mural for her. For like Disney. It's literally only like Mickey Mouse, but it looks so cursed. It looks so terrifying. But anyways, setting the scene. I'm on the track team for my school. So I had to come in super early to when my freshman year. I had to be in there like I think 2 weeks early or something for school, like for track and school. So it was just me in my room. I had no roommates or anything. I took a shower. And then I came back and I put my shower caddy and everything like on my desk. And I remember because I didn't have like everything set up, like my Xbox and like, so there was just a lot of room on my desk. I didn't have my Xbox for my TV up. So I just had my shower caddy there, and I just like, okay, I'm going to go lay down. So I was like laying in my bed, and all of a sudden I just heard like this loud crash. And I was just like, wait, what the hell was that? Like, and I looked down and my shower stuff is literally just like all on the ground. Like my shampoo and like the loofah, everything's just everywhere. And I was like, what? I was like, I didn't set it close to the edge, but I was like, okay, I don't know, maybe something knocked it over, I don't know. And then after a while, we had like posters up and lights up, and our posters would just like fall all the time, but they were like we had command strips on them, so it was like there's no reason that they should be just like falling down and all the time, but it would fall all the time. And I was talking to one of our RM, and I was like, yeah, so what's happening? Why does it like feel weird? There's a lot of cold breezes, like cool places too in the area. It'd be like hot one minute and then super cold the next. And which people could be like, oh, that could be just like the thermostat.
It is
or
a
something.
common thing that people say is associated with experiences, though. It comes up a lot.
That's why I was like, okay, this is like getting weird. Like, why is this happening? And he was like, oh my God, you don't know? And I was like, no, why would I know? And he was like, yeah, there's a ghost that lives here. Her name's Emma. She's super old. She loves show tunes. She hates men because it was an all-girls dormitory, and like she will like traumatize the men more. And he was like, yeah, the first time I got here, which she was like a week before me, he was like, I was doing room checks to like make sure everything's all set up. And he was like, and then the door that was right beside my dorm room, I kept hearing 3 knocks every night. It'd be 3 knocks. I was like, yo, that's the devil right there. That's scary. That's the Father, Son, Holy Spirit right there. And he was like, yeah, that's probably Emma. And I was like, okay, that's crazy. So then we would just kind of like go throughout life, like at the dormitory, be like, oh my God, Emma, girl, what are you doing? Stop doing that. Stop knocking posters down. It's getting annoying, girl. And then at one point, my sophomore year, when I stayed in the dormitory, we have, these doors are like heavy duty. Obviously, we don't want people to break in. Like they're heavy. Like they slam shut. And for some reason, we would be sitting in our new room and our door would open and then like close. And it has a pin on it. You have to use your card that you get from the school and like swipe and then type a pin in. And then it opens and closes. And me and my old roommate were like sitting in our beanbags watching movies, and the door would just open and then it would just close. Like it would just stay open for like, it's enough to like have a little peek, and then it would just close. And we were like, wait, why is this happening? And it happened all the time. And it's just like, it doesn't make sense because the doors are literally so heavy and you have to have a key and a pin code to get in. But we would hear the door like unlock, like open, and then it would just close. And we would like get up and try to open it and it'd just be like closed. And we'd be like, what? Why is this happening right now? Like, it was so crazy, but we would always just be like, oh, Emma, stop. What are you doing? You're so weird. Stop doing that. So it was just kind of like, it was scary. I feel like if I didn't live on like I believe in them and like just kind of have fun with them, then I'd probably be like, oh my fucking God.
Yeah.
There's literally a demon trying to get in our room. I'd always just be like, Emma. It was so scary at night though. When it was like 3 a.m. and the door would do that, it was so scary. I'd literally be like, oh my God, someone's coming in our room. And we'd be like, oh my God, it's just Emma. It's just Emma. It was so scary.
That's interesting because this theme of, like, they call it the jester archetype, where people, they aren't, most hauntings, I should back up. I've listened to probably like 100 hours of podcasts of people claiming to have it, because I'm just curious, like, what are people claiming is happening? I don't know how much I believe, but I don't think, getting back to saying, like, I don't think everyone's lying, right? So what's the common theme? And a common theme is most of the time it's not like a full-on haunting. It's more like a prankster who just fucks with you. Yeah, knock on the door, knock stuff down.
Yeah.
And there's this weird thing where I don't know if there's like entertainment for a spirit to do that, but that is probably the most common experience I've heard listening to people talk about it. You have like outliers that have crazy experiences, but most of it's like, our door would do this, or there would be knocks, or stuff getting knocked over. I've experienced that, I think. Yeah. I'm not sure. I've had times where I'm like, I'm pretty sure that was in the middle of the bed.
Yes.
And like it just got off and there's no wind. Like, okay. Maybe I forgot wrong. Like that's super common as well. I think there's something to it. I don't know if it's actually ghosts. Maybe it's some other thing and it seems like a ghost from us. Maybe it is ghosts. I don't know. But I don't think you're lying. Like, it seems like, when you tell that story, it feels genuine. Like, oh yeah, she really had that experience.
That was wild. Because I would like tell people all the time the story, like when it was going on, and they'd always be like, oh, no way. So you just have always people just telling you like, nah, this is why that would happen. This is why this would happen. But every time I talk about the door, they'd be like, okay.
That one's weird. For sure.
And we'd just be like, yeah.
The key card thing is the seal. Like, you can make up some sort of, like, maybe they didn't latch shut and there's a breeze, but key card, that's usually magnetic locks.
Yeah.
What?
It was
That's weird.
crazy. It was weird. Yeah, it was always like so. Every time it happened, we'd be like, "What the?" It was just always something we would, and then people would be like, "Well, why don't you go ask and tell the RM so they can like fix your door?" And we were like, "Yeah, we could do that, but that's a whole process, and then we have to get a new key code and all that stuff." And we were like, "We'll just slip through it."
Did other people have it too?
Someone beside us had just like a broken door and they had to get theirs fixed, but yeah, no one else. Everyone else's doors were always just like shut. I guess I didn't. Our sophomore year is also when COVID hit, so we only had one semester and then we had to go back home. So like a lot of the times, like we didn't really associate with anyone else on our floor because it was always just like COVID, and that was like scary, and people were like, watch out. And then bam, they were like, go home. You can't be here anymore.
What if that RM is like a room manager? What does that stand for?
Oh gosh, I think I can't even remember what they stand for.
It's like whoever's in charge, right?
Yeah, they're like in charge of the floor.
Would they have the ability to, like, I don't know, from some control room, push a button and unlock doors and close them?
I would hope not.
Could they prank people?
I would hope not. I mean, if they do, that's insane, and they never said anything. But
it would be a great prank.
That'd be terrifying, especially if you had someone creepy as your RM. My sophomore year was some girl, so we would tell her and she'd be like, oh, yo, that's crazy. And then she'd be like, oh, well. And then nothing ever came from it, so.
So you grew up with social media. What advice would you give people with kids based on how you grew up with social media? Like, I would be interested. Like, how do you feel towards it? What's been your overall experience? Obviously, you're streaming, you're doing Twitch, you're pursuing, obviously, with more eyeballs becomes more just stuff you have to deal with.
Yeah.
I'd just be curious, like, how you feel about it, because you've had it your whole life.
Yeah, I think my take on social media, and I don't know if I would give advice to the younger kids, or I would give advice more to like parents who didn't really have to go through like the social media stage when we were in middle school or elementary school or high school. My thing is more just like, I feel like kids in my generation kind of need more of like a little break because yeah, you guys dealt with like things at school too. Obviously, everyone does. But my generation, it's like if you get bullied at school, you get bullied all the time. Like you don't get away from it. Social media, those people will find you on social media and they will bully you all the time. So it's more like I just noticed from like when I was in school and like I felt so bad when people would say shit about people on Facebook or say people like just be rude to the kids that they never get a break. They can't go home and just relax 24/7. And I feel like because my mom would always be like, you don't understand. Like I got bullied, blah, blah, blah. And I'd be like, yeah, but we're getting bullied all the time or like it never ends. We have eyes on us 24/7 because all we've ever had is social media and having to like try to look a certain way. And obviously there's famous people and people want to look a certain way all the time. But it's like now with like influencers and the way they look or the way they act, it's like all the young kids are like getting brainwashed with like, oh, they have to look this way. Like, oh, depression and anxiety, that's not a normal thing. Oh, men treat women like this and that's okay. Okay, that's all right. And it's like we just always are dealing with hate all the time. Like I know when I was younger, it's kind of gross, but like I remember literally watching on like Facebook Live, like someone killing themselves. I've seen someone getting beheaded on Facebook. It's like and Twitter's awful. Like Twitter, you see that shit all the time. And it's like, we just see, like now that we have like all that technology and everything, we like never get a break of something bad happening and all that stuff. And it's like, oh, just like get off your phone. Okay, yeah, they could definitely get off their phone and go do something else. But it's like when your whole life kind of revolves around it, your whole generation's grown up on it, and that's all you do, it's like kind of hard to just like get away from it or step away.
Yeah, there's got to be a middle ground where like people develop, like systems and cultural rules and norms on how to interface with it and stay healthy. I have heard that bullying idea brought up before, that it's that you never get away from it, and that makes things different. I'm curious, what do you think the ratio of, because when I was a kid, I would say like a regular class might have 100 like a year at a school. Let's say you have 100 people in class. I'd say there'd be like 10 kids who got bullied all the time, but for whatever reason. Do you think more kids are getting bullied? Like not only does social media make it so bullies can bully you all the time, but do you think there's more bullying going on and more kids on average getting bullied?
Oh, yeah. I would definitely see that just because it's like, it doesn't stop at just your school too. Because it's like, you can have just random, because I've had people comment on my stuff that's like really mean, or they'll DM me and say like the craziest shit. And I'm always like,
yeah.
Well, who even are you? I don't even know who you are. Why are you saying things like that to me? And I just like block them. But it's like when you have random people from different places and you're a high schooler or middle schooler, that's like when you're mostly in your fields. That's when you literally try to figure out yourself. So when you have people randomly just finding you and just bullying you, or even people at your own school doing it, and even older people, like adults will come in and just start attacking kids too. And it's just like, yeah, I think it just makes it worse because it's just like, there's no just, oh, you're at school. It's your classmates. It's now like you're at home, some 65-year-old man from Detroit can just say some random shit about you. You can have some guy in Russia just start being creepy on you online and you're only 14, and it's like it never stops. It's kind of upsetting to think about. It's kind of really sad to think about. And obviously there is a lot of good that comes with the internet, but that's why I always feel so bad when like my little cousins are like, or my older cousins are like upset and sad, and the parents are like, oh, it's because you're on blah, 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 blah. And it's like, you don't understand. Like we like our generation has gone through a lot, and I understand every generation has too. But it's like, they could be going on something on their phone and like getting bullied, and it's just like, no one does anything about it.
Yeah. I think the argument would be like, maybe you didn't have, like, there's lots of things, like, as society gets better, like certain things are easier. You have better access to technology. I bet the average school was probably like better education. There's probably things that we've improved upon.
Oh, yeah.
But
definitely,
I think the strongest argument is like, it's one thing to have a really bad experience. Like, what would you rather have? I know the answer to this, but let me ask you. Would you rather have like one really traumatic experience that you have to like learn how to deal with? Or would you like to have 10 mini traumatic experiences every day for 20 years?
I think I'd rather have one big traumatic
exactly, 100%. Like,
yeah.
And what you're kind of describing is like, hey, maybe certain things have been improved, but what you guys don't understand is like we're getting this like tiny drip of shit every day that's nonstop in our diet, in our mental diet. That you guys didn't have. It's almost like you're eating like a little bit of poison every day and you can't get away from it.
Yeah.
So how do you deal with that?
And it's just crazy because when you think about it, it's like, it's just weird because it's like our generation just, it's really sad to think about because it's like all we've known is like death and sadness and traumatic stuff because it's like, I was born in 2000. What happened in 2001, 9/11? I had no idea what was going on, but I had to watch it and watch people jump out of a burning building every single year on September 11th and watching people cry and like die all the time. And it's like, I had no idea this happened, but now it's like burned into my brain.
Yeah.
People like all this happening. And then there was so many other traumatic events that happened throughout our small timeline. Like I'm 22 and I feel like I've dealt with so much stuff. And obviously there's more, like obviously since you guys really went through 9/11, but like with us, it's like we didn't cause it. We have no idea what's going on, but it's like we had to deal with it every single year and watch something so traumatic all the time. And we were like, we even had to watch, some of my classes, we had to watch a JFK literally get assassinated. Why did I need to see that? I did not need to see that. But it's like, I had to watch it because it was for class and it was something so traumatic. And it's like, dang, like we just have to deal with, and like social media makes it so easy to just, like I said, I went on Facebook and I literally saw someone get decapitated by an axe. Like, I don't think I did not need to see that, but it just was there.
It sounds like the average amount of just negative information that you have to process is so much higher. And you're right. There's really, I mean, you can go live in the woods. Yeah. And there's people that do that.
Get away from her.
And I honestly think it would be better for like most people, but it's not really realistic. So how do you deal with it now? Like, how do you manage that and Twitch streaming? And obviously, like you thought it was bad in high school. Now you're streaming and you have followers and I'm sure you're getting all sorts of shit. How do you deal with it now?
Okay, so I definitely think it's more the fact that I'm a little more comfortable with talking about not like fully personal issues, but like talking about like I talk about like how I go to therapy and I have depression and anxiety and like how, I question my sexuality sometimes. And I feel like kids nowadays, that's getting better. Like there's more people to watch. Like I grew up on YouTube. Like I watch YouTube all the time. And there was so many people that I would watch that some were toxic and then like you watch the people grow and you would like kind of resonate with them. Like they'd always be like talking about, well, matters that are so normal, like depression, anxiety, and it should be normalized. It shouldn't be something that's so like, oh, that's weird. Like you're weird because you have that, or like there's something wrong with you. Not, or like even if you're gay or anything like that, it should be something that's normalized. So when I was starting my community, I would still have people come in and say things, but I tried to build it off of like a kind of like trust and like, this is how I am, and I accept people that are like this, and like we can talk about the issues and we can talk about things that are going on, and like I really tried to just build it off of like I'm trying to let people feel like they're welcome every time they come in. I try to be super welcoming and super kind in like my community, and like I'm very lucky with the community that I have built and I have, because they are so sweet and they're so kind and everything. Every time someone comes in has a bad day, like everyone's on top of it. Everyone's like, oh my god, like I'm so sorry, like that just sounds awful, maybe try this or do this. Like they're so sweet, and like everything they do is so kind, and it's just like it's hard to find those certain people that you look up to that are kind of like that, like willing to open up about things. So that's why it's like when I watched people on YouTube and they did that when I was younger, I like felt like weirdly safe. Like I felt more safe watching certain YouTubers or certain like Twitch streamers talking about them than I felt with like talking to my own parents. And it's just because it's like the YouTubers would actually be open to talk about it and like, oh well, this is like what my life is now and this is how I went through it and this is how I deal. But if I like brought it up to my mom or my dad when I was younger, it always was like, just get over it. Just get over it. Like, I had it too. Like, I'm fine, whatever. And it's like, you're dismissing my feelings. So it's like, it kind of sucks. But that's why I feel like the internet can be a really good place, because you can build those platforms. Because I feel like the thought on therapy is really like opening up, and more people are like, oh yeah, I go. Like, and people, I feel like everyone should go to therapy. That's like something everyone should just do. Because
everyone that goes to therapy always says that.
Yeah, like it's just something
seems to be a good thing. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like good to just talk about your feelings, because even though if you don't want to talk about it with someone that you're close to, it's nice to just open up and like let things out. So it's like, I feel, and with TikTok, I see it a lot. Like people are always just talking about like their mental, like things that they're going through or problems that are going on, and opening up like how they went through coming out to their family, or how they went through with like talking about certain things. I feel like really helps the community like build a bond together. And that's why I'm like, building a community off of like something toxic, that's when it's like a mess and you're just going to stay in the toxicity all the time. But when you're like upfront and like you don't stand for certain shit, because I've had men come into my channel a lot and say like super perverted things, and I would literally be like ban them quickly. I'd be like get the fuck out. Like that's so
in your on comments or in your Discord,
like on Twitch or on like
yeah.
Instagram. Like I can't even express how many things inappropriate things I've seen on my Instagram DMs or things that have been said on my Instagram.
You're making
So
me
I'm
terrified for my daughters. Like, Jesus Christ.
Yes, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. But it's just like
It's good to know what I'm gonna have to deal with. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. And that's why it's just like finding the right community and building the community. I think that's what a lot of people don't focus on. They focus more on like, well, I just want to like get famous and I want numbers and like high numbers now. So like I'm just gonna let things slide, or I'm just gonna like do whatever someone wants me to do, like to get that money or get popular or famous. And it's like, yeah, but when you do that, then that's when you find yourself a controversial, like you get controversial things, and then you have a really super toxic community that you can't really get away from. So it's like, I feel like it's like I pride on what we built with my community and how like serious and how kind they are. And every time someone comes in, my mods will shut their shit down or I'll shut their shit down. So it's always like, that's why I'm like, I can stand social media now or like dealing with Twitch stuff because the community definitely helps.
You've adapted. You've created like a system to deal with it. Yeah.
And sometimes like on Instagram, like when I get those stupid comments or something like that, I just laugh it off because it's just like, I know they're just weird, lonely guys that are just being creepy that will say shit like that. Or it's like super religious people will say stuff and I'm like, oh no, oh my God, I'm going to hell. I'm so sorry. And I just kind of am just always like, I just laugh it off. Or I'll show my friends, I'll be like, look what this person said. Like, you gotta be kidding me. So it's just like trying to make a joke out of everything, which can be hard, especially when you're younger. But once you like kind of grow up and you like realize or you like kind of learn how people act, it's easier to just kind of like laugh it off and just be like, oh my God, you're so stupid. It's so sad how dumb you are.
I thought it's funny that you were saying we grew up with so much death and negativity, which is true. I'm not discounting that. But you also started blasting zombies at 8 years old.
I had to learn when I was young.
Yeah, some of it. I guess it's not all bad, because it probably comes down to interpretation. When you were talking about the 9/11, whatever, and this and that, it's because your experience was traumatic watching that. You didn't feel trauma playing Left 4 Dead because you knew it was a game, right?
Yeah.
It's not the same. I don't think it has the same effect. Like you were talking, I remember when 9/11 happened. I was in chemistry class. I think I was 13. But it wasn't that. It was a big deal because it was more of like that one thing. But then life went on. I didn't have the internet. The internet was kind of coming around, but it wasn't. There was separation, right? And I remember when it happened, and that's all I remember. I don't remember watching it in school. So for me, I don't have the same sort of emotional attachment to that footage that you do.
Yeah.
And it all comes down to just how the experience is. Like some people might say something to me because of my personality or I'm older, because I don't interpret those things. Like I don't have an emotional negative reaction. And like you were saying, as you get older and you realize you're still getting all the same negativity, but you learn how to, some of it to not cause any emotional damage.
Yeah.
And if you can get to that point, I really believe like you're still ingesting negativity, but it takes away like 90% of the damage.
Yeah.
I think it still damages you a little bit just because it's unhealthy, but I think you can reduce a lot of that damage just having a good attitude and understanding that most of the people that are doing terrible things on the internet are people's lives who are terrible for whatever reason. And if you like, I have a strong suspicion, like say some guy that says something crazy to you, if you actually knew his whole life story, it's probably tragic. There's probably a reason why that person is in the terrible place that they're in. And they might not stay there, right? They might be that person for a decade and then they get sick of it and they turn their life around. And there's also people right now that are super awesome online. If something's going to happen to them in 10 years, they might be that person. Because something, and it's interesting to hear you talk about it because maybe that's the way I approach it with my kids. It's like you have to understand a certain amount of people out there are like living in hell for whatever reason. And then they might share some of that with you and it just is what it is. And you have to understand that it's like, don't take it personal. Easier to say when you're older, but when you're 13, 14, 15, it's such a big deal. It's such a
Yeah.
big deal.
I used to work at a juvenile facility. It was like an all boys juvenile facility. So
Sounds
like
like a wonderful place to work for
yeah,
a young woman.
yeah,
Good Lord.
yeah.
Why would you be working there? That sounds terrible.
Yeah, no, it's because it's a my whole family everyone just kept working there. So then I got thrown into it. But it was just like the stories you hear from them because where they came from and things they didn't have and everything and how horrible like their life was and how they are trying to turn it around or what they went into because of how bad their life was. I think that also really helped me just like opening my eyes mostly and being just like, yeah, people just have it hard. So every time like if I'm streaming and someone comes in like a little aggressive or they'll say something, I kind of like shut it down, but then I'm just like try to be still nice because I try to give people more chances. Yeah. I've had people on my Discord like afterwards be like, that made me like uncomfortable. Like I can't believe it. Like that was annoying that they said things like that. And I'd be like, I would have to answer back and be like, you don't understand what they're going through. They didn't like, and also when you text, it's like you can't understand people's through text. Like I don't know how their emotions going through. Like they could be happy saying something and I could read it as like something aggressive. But I'd always be like, we don't know what they're going through. So it's like, let's be nice where we start off. And then if they're still like this, then they're out. Like it's just that easy. And then I find people that come in super aggressive or they try to bully me. And I just kind of like, I have one person that like came in and bullied me right away. And I just kind of have that sarcastic sense of humor where like, I was like, yeah, I honestly hate myself too. Like I was just like joking with like, oh, I know, or like, oh, I am shit, I know. What are you gonna do about it? Blah, blah, blah. And now they come in all the time and they're super nice. And they were always like, wow, I can't believe I came in here like really mean. And now I come in all the time and we hold conversations and I talk with the community and they like the community. And I was just like, that's why I'm always like, every time someone comes in really aggressive, I'm like, I don't know what they're going through. They could be going through something super rough or something bad could have happened. So it's just like, you got to be a bigger person in that aspect too. Cause it's just like, it's hard, but at the same time, it's just like, you really don't know what is happening on the other side of the screen. So it's like I think people just don't listen enough. I feel like people just kind of jump to conclusions and jump to more aggression instead of just sitting and listening. Because it's sometimes hard just like having someone yell at you or just like come at you full force. But sometimes it's just like they just don't ever have anyone to listen. And it's just like when you finally listen, it's just like so nice for them. And they're like, wow, this is a good feeling. And I don't get it a lot.
That goes back to what you're saying. Maybe that's why everyone who goes to therapy that I know has said everyone should go to therapy.
Yes.
And I would agree with you that probably a lot of the deep down like motivation why people are really mean to other people online is they're not getting enough attention or not enough listening. And if at the very least, if they could talk to someone once a week who will just listen to them with no judgment. Yeah, it'd be interesting if you had like a magic wand, you were all powerful God, and I could say, I want to see 2 simulations. Simulation A, where like literally every person goes to therapy every week. Yeah. How much would that drop? Like how much would the world's problem would drop if everyone had someone that would listen to them?
And literally, and it's crazy to think like there probably is a universe out there that does that.
It probably does, yeah.
Which is crazy to think about in itself.
I've had this theory for a long time. It's just a fun one to think about, that all realities exist. Like every possible potential exists in some form. They're all stacked up on top of each other. And back to simulation or video games, you are playing a choose your own adventure. So with your thoughts and your actions, when you make a choice, you're not just making a choice and then reality like changes to you. No, when you make a choice, you jump realities to the reality where you made that choice.
Yes.
That's what's going. Reality, that goes into like the manifestation. People say like, oh, you can manifest and change the world around you. I don't think you're changing the world. You're changing which reality you're traveling to. Because it seems so weird. Like, how could you change the world with your thoughts? It's like, well, you're not. You're changing which world you're in. You're not changing the world you're in. You're not changing the world you're in. You're changing what world you're in.
No, literally? That's like...
I'm super stoned, so it is what it is.
Yeah, but like it's just funny because like I've never smoked through like anything like that. So it's just like I just have these high thoughts all the time. So it's like I can keep conversations with people like this because I'm like, oh my God, yes, I agree 100%. Because I have like the same kind of theory that it's like, because I've almost died like twice. So I've been close to kissing death. So I'm always
have
like
a near-death experience?
Yeah, I had 2
Oh
of
my
them.
God. I was gonna try to steer us back towards video games, but a near-death experience is like one of my other favorite topics. So sorry, people who want to hear about video games, fuck you. I love near-death experiences. Please For the love of God, tell me about your near-death experience. I'm so fascinated by those.
That's what when I was getting to it, because it was like I've had two of them, and I always think like, what if I died, like I actually did die, but I got placed in an alternate reality where I actually never, like, I just continue my life, like I did die in that other reality, but they just pushed me somewhere else to continue my life. And I always think that, like, that'd be crazy. So when I was little, I was just a troublemaker, but this obviously wasn't my fault. But when I was younger, I think I was going into 5th grade. So in the summer, my like stomach hurt really, really bad. And I would be like, Dad, oh my God, my stomach hurts like really bad. I'd be at my friend's house, like throwing up just like nothing. And they were like, she's sick, take her home. And then I'd come home and it was like weeks. And my dad, finally, when I was like, I literally couldn't walk, he was like, oh my God, it's your appendix. He like took me to the hospital, and then I got life flighted to Children's Hospital. And they said that my appendix like burst. And there was like a hole and everything was just like leaking everywhere.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And I was like, and they were like, I had to stay there for so long because I also wouldn't eat food because it just hurt so bad to eat. So I was just there forever. And each time I was there, my IV would not, I got so many different IVs because it would not stay in. And like one time in the middle of the night, I got up to go to the bathroom and my half sister was with me and she had to help me go to the bathroom, but my IV popped out and blood was just like gushing everywhere. And she started panicking because she doesn't do well with blood. But it was just like, yeah, it was a nightmare. So I almost died because of my appendix. And then when I was going into college, my senior year, it was like the summer going into college, I got in a car crash and it was my fault. No one got hurt. It was only me. Well, I got hurt. No one was around me. I have no idea what happened. I literally was driving to work at like 3 p.m. So it was like, I was awake, I was ready for the day. And then like all of a sudden I like woke up and I was in the middle of the road and my car was like completely totaled. And I literally was like, this guy, I remember him like running over and was like trying to get me out of the car. And he like finally got me out. And I literally was just like, had no idea what was happening. And the cop like came and was asking me questions and he was like, are you on drugs? Were you drinking? Where was your phone? And since the guy like was with me who like got me out of the car, he saw me like literally, I didn't have my phone because I'm like scared of driving anyways. I didn't have my phone with me. It was like far away because I just put on music and then I put it somewhere else. And I literally, I think it was in my hoodie. It was like in a jacket pocket or something because I had a jacket on and I remember I had to unzip my hoodie because I remember just sitting there being like, I need to call my mom. Like, can I call my mom? And the guy was like, yeah. So like he testified and was like, yeah, she wasn't on her phone. But then I got tested for everything. But I literally, the guy who saw it happen, he was like, yeah, she came over the hill and all of a sudden she like went off into the ditch and she like disappeared, came back out of the ditch, went back into the ditch and smashed a tree, spun around and smashed into a stump and then somehow ended up back on the road. And my car was completely totaled. I had chemical burn all over my chest. I had my knees. I have like scars on my knee. Yeah, it was not a pretty time.
Did you have any sort of like weird experience during both of those events? Like when the appendix was bursting and you were at the peak, like did anything weird happen? Did you experience anything weird?
I just remember with my appendix, like I just remember like wanting to go to sleep and my like dad, like hearing my dad or like my stepmom, because that's who I was with, just like keep yelling at me like, stay awake, you need to stay awake. So I remember like literally laying down in the helicopter going to like children's, like literally just being like, I'm so tired, I just want to sleep, or like I'm so cold, like I just want to go to bed. And my stepmom like yelling at me, like literally just oh my God, look at Pittsburgh. It looks so pretty. Look at it. Look at the stars. It's so like just screaming at me the whole time. And then when I was in the car, I literally like, it felt like a dream. Like I literally don't remember like anything. Like it blew my mind because I remember like it felt like a dream and then I literally remember like screaming and like all of a sudden I was like awake because the guy was like running towards me and was like, oh, get out of the car. I was like, I literally don't remember any of this. It was like insane. And then they tested me for like if I was dehydrated and other things like that, and I was like perfectly fine. And I was like, yeah, I don't know anything that happened, but it was crazy. I was like, wow. Yeah, I never had anything really cool. Like, oh, I saw like an angel or something like that. But I just remember being like wanting to sleep and just like being like kind of accepting, just being like, okay, it's just, I felt like good kind of when I remember being cold, like especially with my appendix, I remember being cold and I was like tired and just kind of being like kind of just like, oh, okay. Like just accepting. And then like stepmom would just keep yelling at me and I'd be like, oh, and just keep saying.
I could also imagine what it was like for your parents. I had a brother get really hurt who had heart failure and we had to call the ambulance. and we were giving him CPR, and it was just like that experience for me was traumatic because I was like, I
Yeah.
don't know if he's gonna die in front of me or not. I can imagine your poor parents like
Yeah, no,
the amount of stress that would they aged him like 10 years probably.
yeah, no,
Jesus Lord.
they definitely, because the appendix, that was a whole thing. Like, everyone was at the hospital with me when I was little. And then, like, because I remember when I was like in the summer, there was like a thing called Hershey Track, which was like elementary competition for track and field. And I was like on the team for like our 4x1. And that happened. So then I was in the hospital. So I had all the girls like there and was like, they would make jokes and be like, oh, we lost because you weren't there and all this stuff. And I just remember like so many people and so many like gifts and being able to watch TV all day. Cause I remember like it was super scary when it was happening because I remember like seeing my parents like freaking out and like crying.
Yeah.
And I literally was like, what's going on? But then I remember like my sisters or my brother would be like, let's watch some free TV. Like watch all these movies. Cause the children's hospital had like a ton of free movies. So my brother would always be like, let's put on Disney and like watch a movie. And I'd be like, oh my God, we don't have this movie. So I remember like, and we would play like Wii, because I remember them having a Wii there. Like we would just play games all the time. So I remember like having fun.
You have
at
some good
Children's
memories
Hospital.
associated
Yeah.
with it. Yeah.
So it's like, I remember having fun there. But then I like, when I really think about it, I'm like, wow, there actually was a lot of trauma that probably came with that.
After Left 4 Dead, what's the kind of walk me through like the games that have been like the biggest, the most obsessive up until I guess Overwatch is what you're on right now.
So I'd probably say Left 4 Dead and Fallout. Like Fallout, I literally remember just sitting on a wooden, uncomfortable stool watching my dad play New Vegas or Fallout 3 and just literally being obsessed with it. I was like terrified of a lot of the creatures in there, but I was like, this is such a beautiful game. Then I remember playing that a lot. We played Skyrim a lot, and I got big into Sims because I used to like, my sister was big into it, so I got into it and I'd always be like, create a character and then never play it again. She used to get so mad at me, but I was like, this is what I like to do, is just create the character. And then I got big into like, that's when like the DS and like the 3DS and all of that came out. So like Mario Kart was huge. Animal Crossing was like really big. But my one friend did have a GameCube and we played Animal Crossing on that. So like I remember playing Animal Crossing a lot. On the PS2, when we got that, I remember playing this game called Ape Escape, and I loved that
Ape
game.
Escape is awesome.
Yes, I loved that game so much. And I remember talking about it on stream one time and explaining it. And people were like, yeah, that doesn't exist. And I was like, look it up.
Oh, it exists. That's actually the third Ape Escape. So this is how old I am. I played the first one on PS1. But I like that you had that was a huge game for me, and I probably would have been the same age. It was just the older version of that game. But the formula of that game, running around catching monkeys and it's so fun. For a little kid, it's the best.
I was so obsessed with it. I was literally so obsessed with it. I thought it was so fun. Every time I was at my dad's, because my parents are divorced, blah, blah, blah. So I had to go to my dad's like every weekend. And I would always be like, I want to play Ryan, please. Which is my brother's name. I was like, please let me play. Please let me play. He'd always be like, fine, I'll go hang out with my friends or something. So I remember playing Ape Escape all the time. And so my dad was like really big into the Simpsons, like Fox, like cartoon, like that kind of stuff. So we played Simpsons Hit and Run, and I can't remember what the other one's called, but we played it all the time. It was like 2 Simpsons games. Oh my God, those are so fun too. I remember. And then there was a game called SingStar that was just like a singing game that I used to play with my stepmom all the time and my friends. So then that was like all in the PS2. Those are all the games I remember on that. And then we got like the Wii, and the Wii we played Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games. We played Mario Kart all the time. We had the Wii Fit board. So we did all those weird games on the Wii Fit. We had Just Dance, Raging Rabbits. That was a fun one. Always thought that was an insane game. And then my brother got an Xbox. So then that's when I got into the guy. Well, he also wouldn't let me play. I remember playing he finally would let me play why can't I think of what the game's called? Well, he let me play like Call of Duty games with him, but it was only on like campaign. I was never allowed to play any of the actual competitive games. Halo, that's what it was. He
didn't want you fucking up his profile.
Yeah, he literally was so serious about all of that. But Halo was the one I really remember, because I'd be like,
oh yeah,
he would always want to play with me, and I'd be like, yes, let's play, please. Let's play. And then we got back into like Overwatch came out too, and I played it on my brother's Xbox, and then I finally got enough money to like buy my own Xbox. And during this whole time, I was still buying like the DS, the DSi, the DS, well, the 3DS, and then now I have a Switch. So all those times I've been playing like all the games that come with that. So I've been playing all the Animal Crossings. I've been playing Mario Kart all the time. Smash. I'm not the best at Smash, but we still play that. But yeah, then I got my own Xbox, and then I got an even better Xbox, and then now I have a PC. So I just bounce from all sorts
you've
of
joined
games.
the master race.
Yes. Yes. My Twitch community helped me raise money for that. So
hell yes. What GPU you rocking?
What
do we got? What are we working with?
I literally, to be honest, I cannot remember.
How dare you?
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I would have to look up the build because I literally cannot remember anything. Someone was like helping me build it and they were like, this is amazing. You should do this and this and this. And I was like, okay, I think this is really good. And then I got the okay from my dad and my brother. They were like, yes, this is good. But yeah, I can't remember because we built it so long ago and there were so many problems with it that it just, because my dad and my brother were like, yeah, I want to build it. Like, we're going to build it. So then they tried to build it and then the motherboard got fucked up somehow and we had to send the motherboard back. And then the people that I got the motherboard from were like, yeah, there was a problem with it, like with shipping, like it got messed up. And then they wouldn't send me back money or send me a new one. So I had to buy a whole new one. And then my dad was like, yeah, we're going to try to build it again. And then I was like, oh my God, this is a mess. And then I don't even know how they got it to work, but they finally figured it out. But they were dead set on building it. I was like, fine.
Well, now it's the same PC you record and stream and all that stuff?
Sometimes if I'm streaming, because I know, like, with the community comes other streamers, like, playing with them, collabing. So they all have PCs, and I never got to play with them because I was only on Xbox. So I would stream through an Elgato on my laptop for a really long time. And then I got the PC, and I don't have two monitors, so it's like really annoying to have to deal with like switching to Discord or switching back to the game or trying to fix things. Or like even with stream, like I can't switch the channels because I don't have like a stream deck or have like another monitor. So like I still tend to stream through my Elgato, but I'll still play. If I'm streaming with people, then I tend to play and stream on my PC.
Who's your favorite streamer that you've played with? Who should you shout out? Who should we check out?
Ooh, okay, so this is pretty good. I might have to go with my ladies. I have like a whole bunch of women that I play with. Her name's Gigi Lexi. We got Snorri Cakes. We got
Snorri Cakes?
Yeah, Snorri Cakes.
I like it's like SNORY?
SNOREY Cakes.
Snorri Cakes.
Yeah.
I like that username. It made me laugh.
Yeah, and then we have a girl named Piggy Probably. She's also super cute. I don't know if she has like numbers or something. Gigi Lexi, the first one I named, was the one that like, because I used to stream all the time with like my friend, but my friend stopped streaming that I used to stream with because I had a whole community of girls also, but then they all stopped streaming. And then I was just like, whatever, I guess I'll stop. And then I got back into it and she found me on Instagram and then was like, oh my God, we all need to play, like let's play games. So she got me back into it. So like big shout out to her. Her Twitch, it should just be like 2 lowercase g's and then a capital LEXII. And Snorri Cakes and Piggy MU. That's what her thing's on this.
Oh, I see Snorri Cakes.
Yes.
It's a badass name.
Isn't that kind of fun? Like I think it's so cute. Those women are the ones that I stream most well. We keep planning things to stream with each other. They really love Valorant, and I'm trying to get into Valorant. I'm not the best, so I am like pushing it. I'm like, let's wait a second.
Valorant is an Overwatch type shooter, right?
Yeah, it's like I'm not used to it because when you like go in shooting, but you have to stand still and shoot people. I'm so used to like Fortnite or COD or Overwatch where I'm like jumping around trying to like dodge people. You have to
stand still and shoot?
Yeah, like that's how you get kills is if you're like you run around but then you stand still and shoot your gun at people, and that's how it's like you get kills actually. You don't like move around fast.
That sounds boring. You gotta stand
still? It's so annoying because I'm so used to like jumping all the time. Because my brother's like obsessed with this game and these girls are too, so they're always like, yeah, we should play. And I'm like, I try to learn how to play and you literally just stand still and just shoot. And there's like more things to it, like there's different characters. It's kind of like Overwatch because there's a lot of different characters. They have ultimates, they have different abilities. But like, oh my God, the fact that you can't There's no sprinting. You're not supposed to jump. Like every time you jump, it slows you down. It's so annoying. It made when I'm trying to get into it, trying my hardest.
If you could make any game, if you had endless money and any developer in the world you could choose, what game would you make?
I think I am just, like I said, really obsessed with Fallout. So I would want them to fix Fallout 76. I want Bethesda to remake Fallout, like a new Fallout, and it needs to be a story mode mission, like a story mode. But I want it to be like Fallout 4, Fallout 3, New Vegas, like that kind of story. And you can play with your friends, but not an open world. It's you could play with 2 or 3 people or 4, up to 4 people could play. And you could just play the story missions with your friends. I hate that. It's very strong passion, 76, and even this Skyrim online, it makes me so mad because I'm you guys can make such beautiful games. You are so good at telling stories, and you guys are let's just do an online version where it's crappy and graphics are horrible. It glitches all the time. No one will notice, and it makes me so mad. 76, I've never seen an uglier game in my life. When I bought it, I bought the pre-ordered one. I've spent so much money on it, and it was so shit. It made me so mad. But I heard it's getting better. But yeah, I would definitely do a new Fallout, and it would be Bethesda. Fix it. Make a new Fallout. Make it better. That's all I want.
They did say Fallout's, I think Todd Howard said Fallout is after Starfield, another Fallout.
I know, I'm so excited for Starfield. I'm so surprised they haven't decided to do a new Skyrim. That, they need a new Skyrim, because that also is such a beautiful game.
Yeah, I mean, Skyrim is the most modded game of all time.
Yes, I think that's
it's
so
insane.
Funny.
Yeah,
I think that's so funny because I'll play with mods too and just fuck around. It's so funny. Oh my god, I just think they just make beautiful games. So I'm I think Bethesda does a really good job making games, and they have good ideas. I think they should just keep up with it.
Are you getting Starfield day one?
Oh, probably. Sadly, that's probably a yes. That is probably a yes.
Well, we will both. Generations will unite for Starfield. I am
pumped.
I am pumped for that game.
And it looks so. I remember talking to someone and they were yeah, it's probably gonna be shitty 76. And I was whoa, wait a second. And they're yeah, and they're just deciding to do the space kind of thing. And I was yeah, you love Skyrim and you love Fallout. They're both 2 different types of genres. And this is gonna be a new fun genre. They're so good at making games.
You like Skyrim? Why wouldn't you? What's wrong with Skyrim in space? It's still Skyrim.
Really, why are you upset? I really defend games. The games that I love so much, I always defend so hard. So it's every time people test me, I'm always whoa, wait a second. Hold on. But 76, I couldn't defend it. I couldn't do it. I felt defeated with 76. That one. God, that made me so mad.
I also ask oftentimes, what's the biggest letdown you've had in gaming? But it sounds like 76 is going to take the cake.
It topped the charts. 76 literally made me so sad because it was so glitchy. Right when you get in, and the graphics literally looked like Fallout 3. It looked so bad. And then there was, because I got it when it first came out, so there was no really wasn't any companion characters. You couldn't have any of those. There wasn't that many NPCs or missions around. And I just think, I don't know, I think their stories are always just really good. I think they're really good at making the stories. So without having a basic storyline, I was this is so dumb. And then you got the people who just purging and murdering everyone, and you just log in and you're dead again, and you're just oh my god, I just want to play a game, please.
Yeah, so you don't you'd rather have a story game, but you can play missions with the squad, 4 people.
Yeah, I think
that.
Saints Row, that game is pretty glitchy, but I like how you can play with someone else and you guys can go through the missions together. I think that's a good idea.
Yeah.
But I'm a big fan of having a love interest in those story mode games, so I don't really know how they'd make that work.
What's your favorite love interest in gaming experience?
Okay.
Either one, you just the best character, or who did you actually swoon over the most?
Okay, well, I think this is, if we're talking about because Fallout, you actually can have love interests and stuff, but if we're talking about just some video game character that I literally fell in love with, it would be Left 4 Dead 2, and it would be Ellis. I loved that farm boy. I thought he was so...
Who is it? I've never played Left 4 Dead 2. Who is it?
His name is Ellis. From Left 4 Dead. He was he was a farm boy. He had a nice accent. I was in love with them.
He looks like a corn-fed merkin.
Yes, I literally was so in love with them. I think it's probably because I was like grew up on a farm and I was like, oh my god, farm boys, they work so hard. Yeah, if we're talking about like actual like love interests, I think it's a tie between Paladin Dance from Fallout 4 or Alistair from Dragon Age Inquisition.
Are we going to talk about Dragon Age?
I love Dragon Age.
I fucking love that game.
I love that game.
I didn't. So a lot of like hardcore RPG heads love Dragon Age Origins, which
Yes,
I tried.
I love all of them. The second one's
I
kind
thought
of
it was
trash.
okay. The second one is everyone pretty much agrees is trash. I
Yes,
would
it was
also
so
agree.
bad. It was so
But
bad.
I played all of them, but it wasn't until Inquisition, which a lot of people don't like Inquisition.
Yes, I've
I
heard that.
loved
Yeah.
it.
The art style too. I was blown away because you go from literally Dragon Age, like Dragon Age Origins, and then the second one, and it's just like you can't really go anywhere. It's on an open field. The characters look gross, and then boom, you go to Inquisition, and the character customization is so beautiful. I literally remember looking at their face and their eyes. I'm like, wow, this
Who
literally
did
looks
you,
so pretty.
What race did you make your character? Your first
Oh,
playthrough?
I like always do elves. I
knew it.
I always
knew
do
you
elves.
were going to be an elf.
I love the elves. I can't help it. I love the elves. That goes way back from Lord of the Rings. I love the elves.
I normally try I like fast characters, like fast gameplay.
Okay.
But I tried for whatever reason on Dragon Age Inquisition. I forget the names of the races, but the big guys with the horns.
Oh my god, I did that on my playthrough for Twitch. I streamed it and I did one of them. I think it starts with a K or something.
Yeah, whatever they are. And I actually liked it. Even though I know that's not normally what I play, but once I realized, like, I loved how the combat system, you could switch to any character. So if you were in the mood, even if your main character was this person, if you weren't in the mood for his play style, you could just switch to the archer or switch to the mage and basically play whoever you wanted to play and kit them out. It's a little bit of spoiler. The game's been out for a long time, and I'm assuming you remember a lot of the stories since you love stories. I loved the whole lore but I loved Solus, the mage guy, the bald elf.
Oh my god, I wanted to punch him in the head. I hated him right when I met him.
I was super loyal to him. I did all his quest lines. I used him in my party, and then at the end, I was like, "You motherfucker!"
Yeah, that is so funny because when I met him, I was like, I fucking hate you. I already know. I think her name was Vivian.
You picked up on it.
Yeah, I think her name was Vivian, was the other mage, and I was like, I like her. She's sassy, she's angry all the time, she's mean to people, I like her, but Solus, there's something off about you, and I know it. There's something about you. And right when it happened, I was like, oh, I don't even care. I'm killing him. I'm killing him so fast. It's not even going to be funny. I was so excited. I was like, I knew it. But he made me so angry.
It was a great twist because I started suspecting him just a little bit before the reveal, like maybe like 1 or 2 sessions. Things started coming together. And then it was that was one of like the best twists I've ever experienced in a video game. I loved the story, but you also kind of understood why he was the way he was. It made I don't know. I thought the writing was great. I thought the story was great. I want to replay it. It's been a while.
Yes, I always go through my games because I'm always like, oh, I'm tired of playing these games. And I always see it and I'm like, why do I want to play all of them again? I literally love this. The gameplay is just so good. And like going back to Solus, like as much as I hated him, it still was like a shock when it happened. That's why I was like, even if you hate him at the beginning, they still somehow turned it into like this big reveal. Because I remember literally being like, whoa, wait, what? But I was like, I hate him. But like, I didn't know that was him.
Yeah.
It was so crazy.
There's little touches in that game. Obviously, for those who haven't played, Solus is a character. We don't have to spoil all of it, but something happens with him.
Yeah, that guy.
But there's an event in the game where there's like a terrorist attack on like a mages guild that sort of like spawns, like it's the catalyst. It'd be like the same thing of, what's that Duke's name that was shot that started World War I? It was an event like that, right? It was this event that happened. And the title screen of the game, like that event happened. I just like this little touch when you're on the title screen of the game. There's all these people marching, and there's an explosion in this building, and it's I don't know. Just the game is full of all these little touches. It does play a little clunky now. I tried it probably like a year ago, and it was a little more stiff than I remember it, but still awesome.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I remember playing it and being like, I remember glitching a lot when I played it. When I played that for my stream, I remember glitching all the time, and I was just like, what? Okay, cool. But no, it is a lovely game. I always will bring up Inquisition or like Dragon Age, and people are like, what's that? And I'm like, "Ugh, you don't get it. Get out of
It's
here."
good. I'm excited. I really want to see what I really hope the next Dragon Age game is like a story wise is a direct sequel to
Yes.
Inquisition.
Yes, I think
Yeah.
it would work really well.
I mean, they left with Solus. They left it at such a kind of a cliffhanger. But they
Yes.
resolved some things. But then it's like, well,
Yeah.
now what? And what's he gonna do? And what?
I do like at the end when they just like try to tie it all up and they because you get different stories with how you interact with different characters. So like at the end you have like this full storybook at the end and it will tell
Yeah.
you like, oh, this is what's going on with them now. And I was just like, yeah, but like what else? There has to be something else happening. Because I also loved Morgan. I think her name was it?
Which
She was
one
like
was
the.
Morgan? I need to be
I
reminded.
think she was like the one from Origins. I think she was the witch from. Was it Morgan? I think it was Morgan. But she was like the main
Oregon.
witch.
Oh yeah. Okay,
From
I
the
do
first
remember her.
Origins, and then they brought her back for the third Inquisition. And I was like, this girl, I always try everything she did. I was like, I trust her because I loved her in the first one. I was like, I just trust her.
Did you ever play The Witcher?
No, I've never had because I was wanting to, but my dad's like weirdly protective with certain things, and he'd be like, "You're not playing that." I literally just played it, and there was a scene where I had sex with the lady on a horse, so
That
you're
is
not
true.
playing that. And I was
But
like,
The Witcher
okay.
3 has been out for a while, and you're an adult now,
I
and you
know.
like Inquisition.
Sometimes- I know sometimes I just like I'm like, oh, my dad said no, and I like forget my age sometimes, and I'm like, "Ugh, I could play it now. I easily could play it now."
It's on Switch too. If you want the
Oh my God.
convenience, it's on
I
Switch.
do love a Switch. I love that I can lay in bed and play a Switch.
I have a Switch, but I just don't play it.
I have that issue too, where I just like kind of put it in its case and I just forget it's there. And then I'm like, oh my God, I haven't played Animal Crossing. Because I'll see like TikToks or something and I'm like, oh my God, I need to get back on that. So then, but there's like a lot of the games. Okay, I like completely forgot games that I played when I was really, like when I was also little and I lived at my mom's. We used to play like this game called Pajama Sam and like
I've
they're
never
like
heard of it. Let me look it up. Pajama
super
Sam?
yeah, Pajama Sam. And then there was one with Freddy Fish, and then there was a car one, but I can't remember the car's name. But they're like super nostalgic. They were CD disc, and I remember playing them all the time.
These are like little kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I remember playing them all the time when I was little, because they came out before I was like born. But like my stepbrother had them, so we like played them all the time. And they put them on the Switch, and I would play them on stream. It'd be like a nostalgia stream, but it always made me so happy because I was like, oh my God, I remember playing these when I was so
That's
little.
interesting. These are old school. It looks like an old school point and click adventure game.
Yes, that's exactly what they are. They are point and
Yeah.
click. And it literally, I was, when I was playing on stream, I was like, someone was definitely on drugs when they made this.
Of
Because
course.
if you point and click on some of the things, you're like, what does this have to do with anything? Because like everything you click has some random thing will come out and like poke out, make some weird silly noise. And you're just like, this has nothing to do with the story, but like, what is going on? Why are they doing this? But yeah, I like they have those on Switch now. So like I play those all the time. But now it's like I haven't touched my Switch in forever still. I have an issue with that doing that too.
What's your favorite story? All said and done. Best story in gaming.
Ooh, a story. For me or like a video game story? Or like
Yeah,
my
like which
experience.
video game story did you have the best experience that you enjoyed the most? Just the story, not the game as a whole, but story that you just.
Story mode. Okay. Oh, I feel like okay. Dang. Obviously, I love Fallout, so like I would want to say Fallout 4, but sometimes I hate the fucking child in Fallout 4, so like I hate that story mode. I want to punt that kid across the room. Like I hate him. But like weirdly enough, I kind of like, I don't know if you've ever played, but like Stardew Valley, it's like a farming simulator kind of game. And I just like the story mode's just so sweet. It's just like always having fun. Like it's just such a calm game. It's literally like you just farm and you like mine and you're like this new person that takes over a farm because your grandpa died and gave it to you. And then you just have to meet all these people in a village. And it's just so like heartwarming. It's just so calm. So like every time I'm like, I want to die or I'm tired of playing these games, I'm like, I'm going to go on Stardew Valley and I'm just going to sit and
chill. Yeah.
It literally just reminds me of like you're sitting by a fire and you're just like relaxed. That's how it always reminds me because it's just so calming. And that's what you need. Unless you go in the fucking mine and you have to kill a whole bunch of creatures. That's a nightmare. But other than that, super chill.
I try to give one recommendation of a game most of my episodes. And then try to follow up on people. I'll follow up with you if you try this. I've been thinking about like what would I recommend if you love Stardew Valley and you love the story and you love the calm peacefulness, and I believe this game is on Switch as well. It's called Spiritfarer. Look that up. It is Stardew Valley, but and since we've talked about simulation and souls and stuff, it's Stardew Valley, but your job is to farm souls. You have to be their friend. You manage a relationship with them. And once you've basically become close enough with them, you help them cross over to the other side. It's very adult in the sense of like the themes, but the gameplay is just very lax. It's basically Stardew Valley, but from the side. You're on a boat and the boat travels the world finding spirits. They have to live on you with the boat long enough to like basically come to terms with their life. You have to like farm and then you have to cook meals for them. You have to learn like what they like. Your job is basically to love people enough until they can move on. And it plays like Stardew Valley. It is one of the most beautiful games I've ever played.
Oh my goodness. So it was called
Spiritfarer. I'm terrible. Spiritfarer. Spiritfarer, yes. And I'm pretty sure it's on, dude, it's 10 out of 10 on Steam. 4.5 on GOG.
Oh my god, I saw someone play this on TikTok. I remember seeing
this game
like
is awesome.
Gameplay, and he would go up and hug them all the time because the hugs were so cute. He'd be like, let's see what their hug is.
It's like, did you ever play with like a Tamagotchi, like a little digital pet?
Yes.
It's sort of like, so each spirit you collect is like that. Sometimes they're hungry. You got to feed them, but you also have to know like what kind of food they like. And the only way to know that is to talk to them. And then like, okay, they really love this type of food. So we have a little farm. You go and pick the right ingredients and you cook them the food. And once you basically give them all the love and the food and everything they need, it's super. You take them to this gate and like you pass them off. And then every time you like take one to the gate and you let them go, it's like you emotionally feel it like, oh my God.
Oh my God, I'm getting sad thinking about it. Oh my God.
It's so good. It is so good.
When you talking about it though, I'm like, this is definitely a game I would like to play. This is a game that would be so fun.
So it's like Stardew Valley. It's relaxing that way, but it also is a little more like it hits at a deep emotional level. If you get into the stories, some people just like it for the gameplay because it's relaxing and they just skip the text and kind of just play it. But this is one where I would recommend. It's worth reading all the text.
Oh my God, I would definitely do that. That's like a new idea for a stream. So thank you.
What's this game that's made you feel the most sad? Whether the story or the vibe or whatever.
Oh my God. There's definitely a game that made me cry, and I'm trying to think of it. Oh my God. I don't know if this counts or anything. This is the only one I can think of right now, but I know there's a game that I played and the ending just like made me cry, but I literally can't remember. Overwatch has sorry, this sounds crazy, but Overwatch has like animated shorts of like the characters in the
I've heard
game.
They're really good. I've never been into it, but people always talk about them.
They're so well made and they're so beautiful, and so many of them have very sad, traumatic like backstories. So like I remember like watching them, and you just like I feel like that's why I really also like Overwatch, because you really get to like learn the backstory of the characters. You get the lore of what's going on, and a lot of their stories like really sad. So like I just remember like watching a couple of them and literally just I would cry. Like tears would come down my face. I'd be like, why the hell am I crying right now? That's like what I remember there being a game that I like played though, actually. And like at the end I was like crying, but I can't. It was like a long time ago though. I can't remember.
Well, it eludes you. Must not be that good.
That's why I'm like, Overwatch, I know those animated shorts for that video game make me cry.
Did you watch that, I don't play League of Legends, but the show on Netflix?
Oh, Arcane?
Did you watch that?
Yes, I did. That made me cry.
Not the bombest shit you've ever seen?
It's so fucking good.
It's so good.
It's so good. I love anime, so like this like touched my heart. I was like, this is what I love. I love anime. This is perfect. And my brother loves League of Legends. He literally downloaded it on my PC, so when he comes over, he can play it all the time. So he was like, you have to watch it. I know you don't know much about it, but please watch it.
I don't know anything about it, never played the game, and I think it's one of the best TV shows I've ever seen.
It was so good. It was so good.
The end when it's finally like all coming together.
And
then, so speaking of villains and bad guys, we were talking about that a little bit earlier. What's his name? Silco? Like, he's a piece of shit, but he's also, but the moment when, who's the Joker girl? I forget her name.
Oh, Jinx.
Jinx. The moment when Jinx, she confronts him and she was wondering if he was going to sell her out to make the deal with
Oh my
the,
god, yeah, that made me
and he was
cry.
like, I would never sell you out. You're perfect as you are. I have two little girls. And so I was just like, he's so terrible. But yet he's the only person that's ever treated her with
And like
love.
actually took care of her.
Yeah. And
Yes, her
so,
sister, bye. That mother ditching her sister. You bitch. You're a bitch. That's why I loved the big guy at the beginning who took care of them. He was so
yeah.
nice, so sweet.
And then she launches the rocket, and the characters were so well developed because none of them were all bad and all good. Some were
Yeah.
more bad, but they were all had very human backstories, and you made all their motivations made sense. You could see their
Yes.
point of view. Everybody had like different agendas, but you sort of realized like all these things are intertwining. No one's a good guy, full good guy. No one's a full bad guy. Everyone is like a mix. It was so good. That show's awesome.
Yeah, no, 100%. Because I remember being like, oh my god, Jinx is crazy. But then I was like, oh my god, I love her. I feel so bad that she's going through all of this. And then I'm like, I just felt like so bad for her, like almost the whole entire time. Even when like she did some shitty thing, I was like, that poor girl though. The trauma she's been through.
But it's weird. Like I've met people who seem to be plagued by bad luck, right? And
Yeah.
so you get it's just like parents were bad, you didn't have a lot of friends, that makes you weird. Your social skills start to go downhill. Then your social skills make it so people are more mean to you. It's like it reinforces the cycle.
Yeah.
And then people turn into the Jinx. Like that's why I thought her
Yes.
story was this is what happens when
beautiful.
someone is not loved enough.
Yes. Oh my
That's what
god,
they-
and that's like all she
Yeah.
wanted. That's all she wanted and all she needed.
Yeah.
Oh my god, yeah.
The two dudes, like one of them was the scientist that was crippled.
Oh yeah.
I liked him, but the other guy, Jace, I think.
Yeah, he was like he
He was
became
my
like
least favorite, but
yeah, I didn't really care about him.
yeah.
His storyline would come up and I'd be like, I just want to go back to Jinx and Vi. Please send me back to
Yeah.
them.
What do you think what's your favorite retro game?
Probably Ape Escape. For me, I know it's not too retro, but like that
It's definitely
game,
retro. PS2 is retro.
Yeah.
I think it's
I-
retro.
I'm so obsessed with that game. Or even like that Pokemon game, but I can't find that Pokemon game. I've been trying to find
Stadium. I think it's
Yeah.
really it's probably super expensive, I bet.
Yeah, that's what I keep trying to find, like the Ape Escape, and it's I think it's like $20 some or something. But we keep losing the cords for our PS2s that we have here, so that we can't play anything because our cords aren't working. So we have to find the cord that we don't have, and I just like keep forgetting about it. But I would play probably Ape Escape nonstop if I could, or I guess retro as in the point and click games that I play that I think they just bring back a lot of memories. They make me happy.
$70 on eBay for Pokemon Stadium.
Yeah, God.
It's not that bad, I guess. Could be
Yeah.
worse.
But I think that's why I'm like, I know we have that Nintendo 64 somewhere at my mom's, and I know that game is still there, but I know where she would have put it.
What is your best gaming memory? Not the actual, it could be an actual game or a point in the game or an experience where like you got together with friends. What is like the best gaming experience you've ever had and why?
It wouldn't even be me playing the game. I think just when I was really young and I would go to my dad's and like I said, like sitting on that uncomfortable stool, like it hurt. But I just loved watching him play like Left 4 Dead or loved watching him play Skyrim or Fallout. Like I literally remember watching him play them and being like, in Fallout there's like ghouls, like the zombie creatures, or like the Deathclaw, which is like a super scary like demon looking thing. And it was like, it's like the most powerful thing in the game. And I remember just always like freaking out and being like, oh my god, like, oh my god, there's one there, run. Like just always like being so intent in the game with him. And I remember always asking him like, oh, can you go play this game, please? Can you go play this game? And my stepmom would be like, oh, like upset and be like, oh my god, like trying to get him out of the video game, like play video games. But every time I was there, I was like, can you please go play, please. So like when he finally like was teaching me how to play certain games, that like had a big place in my heart. But like I think my best memory is just like, because I'm little, so I don't have a care in the world about anything. So just like watching him like play games, I just remember literally always being so excited to go to my dad's, literally just to watch him play video games.
It sounds like that whole experience not sort of set in your love for games, but also set your taste in games.
Oh yeah,
For
he
sure.
definitely
Yeah.
was the reason. I mean, he'll still talk to me about certain games, and he just got Overwatch 2 because I was talking about it so much. So he always
What does he
asking me
play
to play.
right now?
So he's been into the Spider-Man remastered. He
Ooh.
was playing that a lot. He also likes to play Dead by Daylight, but he likes playing the killer. And he likes to camp, which makes me so angry Like that that's like the worst thing ever. So he's also gotten back into Overwatch because we've been playing it a lot. And he played Fallout 76 a lot because he hated it at the beginning and then they got a whole bunch of updates and reworks. And he was like, Cecily, it's good now. You should play it. And then we could play with each other. Like play it, play it, play it. And I was like, okay, I will. And then I downloaded it and then forgot. I just never played with them. So it's like he also is a very big story mode type of person with games. So I think that's where I definitely got it from. But right, he's been really big into the Spider-Man PC remastered one. He's been playing that a lot.
I love that Sony's bringing their first party titles to PC. I hope they make a ton of money, and I hope they keep doing it because
it's smart.
Nice. All right. Well, is there anything else you want to say to the dear viewers?
Nothing. I don't think so. I'm too nervous. I don't know. Yeah, I'm too nervous. I don't know. Well, I'm totally transparent. I've never watched anyone on Twitch. I'm like too old to understand why would I watch someone play a game, because I'm just gonna go play a game. But I know it's a thing and it's huge and people make careers out of it. So sounds dope. I do check out your Instagram though. I watch your clips. I think your content is good. I've been following your Instagram for like I said, I think a year since Ashton told me about you. So yeah, that was a while.
I think your stuff is pretty dope. We didn't even talk about anime. You said you love anime. That's what I was going to ask. Shit. Before we go, what's your favorite anime? Attack on Titan, 100%. Oh, okay. I literally have Levi Ackerman tattooed on my body because I literally love him so much. I have to admit, I've only watched season 1 and 2. I haven't finished it. All of it. It's literally so good. It just gets better. How many seasons total is there? There's now 4 seasons, and they're about to make another season because the 4th season was supposed to be their last one, but they're going to make another one because the 4th season did so well. What's the worst anime? The biggest anime disappointment? Oh God. Try to think of an anime that I started. Okay, this might be like controversial or something, but I'm not really a big fan of like Naruto or like Dragon Ball Z. I just think like I know it's like super controversial. It's just like I guess it's not really my style, and I feel like they just kind of replay a lot of their kind of like things that go on in them. But like obviously the characters are beloved. I had an ex that watched Naruto all the time, so I'd watch episodes, and there'd be episodes I'm like, okay, this is this is entertaining. Like the fighting scenes are good, but I just feel like it repeats a lot. And I know I was making more of a joke. I've never watched Naruto, but people love that. It's probably one of the most passionate fan bases. But I heard, there was someone, Mr. Beast, the YouTube guy. Yeah. Some clip was saying he's going to pay someone to make like a director's edit, like edit out all the filler, because he was like, I don't want to commit to Naruto. It's too much. And then someone was joking, like, how much would it cost to basically edit it down to like get rid of all the filler? And they were like 9 million. And he's like, let's do it. Yeah. So he was like joking about it, but maybe that'll happen. There is just so much filler. And that's what I'm interested in. But yeah, the anime that I'm like, I kind of want to watch is One Piece. I feel like that it's one of like the longest running anime. I've heard that it never ends. Yeah, that's why I'm like, I kind of want to see if it does what Naruto does, where it just kind of has a ton of fillers in it, or if it's like it does a well job keeping a show running that long. So like I'm kind of interested in seeing that one, but at the same time, I tried watching it, the first episode with my brother, and then I just stopped watching it. So, have you ever watched the original Death Note? Oh my God, yes. Okay, so I started watching it. I think I got like halfway to the first season, and then like something happened, and I just like stopped watching it. Which I have it literally like on my list to continue watching it, but for some reason, sometimes I just start anime and then something goes on, and then I don't go back to it for months. I get it. That's why I asked, because I like anime, but the anime experience is you have to commit to like the whole thing, right? Otherwise, you don't really get the full experience, and so. It's a big commitment. I'm always asking, like, what should I watch? I know Attack on Titan's super popular, and it's not near as long or as much commitment as like a Naruto or Dragon Ball. See, or something like that. I'm the same way. That's why when people are always like, you need to watch Dragon Ball Z or Naruto or something, I'm always like, oh my God, but it has so many seasons and so many episodes. Like, I can't do it. I physically cannot do it. And they're like, why? Just binge watch it. I'm like, I don't know if you understand. Like, it's so much commitment. So much time. I can't do it. Like, I physically thinking about it makes me want to throw up.
So that's why if any anime, if I ever started, or any TV show, I need to start at the beginning or like 3 to 4 seasons and then continue watching it. I can't start it when it already has like 28 seasons. Like I can't, my brain can't do it.
Yeah. Too much commitment. I get it.
Yes.
It's weird. It's weird. People, it's like even with movies, people will, if someone says, watch a 6-hour movie, you're like, oh my God, no.
Yeah.
But do you want to watch 6 1-hour episodes on a Saturday? Like that's when you break it up mentally, like, oh, I'm only committing to an hour and then I can decide. Which, it's a weird thing we do. But
yes.
That's it. I can't think of anything else to ask. I had a great conversation. I was thinking about anime earlier and then we got sidetracked and I remembered I wanted to ask what your favorite anime was. And it reminded me. But check out Spiritfarer, and if you stream it, tell me. I want to come watch you play it. I want to see how you like it. If you're gonna stream it, just message me, and I want to see if you enjoy it. For sure. Dark Nymph everywhere except for Twitter. Dark Nymph -C something. Thank you for your time.
Of course.
See you later, guys.